One big thing with the millipedes though that I feel that is important is just like any other animal, Hey friends, it's Stephanie at Tye-Dyed Iguana. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the giant African millipedes. They are one of my favorite species that we have in the store. I love all millipedes, but these guys are super cool. I have 4 of them in here today that we'll talk about and show you guys. So one of the cool things about them is they are actually one of the largest millipedes. These guys can get up to 15 inches, so pretty decent size. These guys will get about 5 to 7 years old, so they do live a while. A lot of times people think insects or millipedes in general won't live as long, but these guys live 5 to 7 years, so that's pretty good lifespan for them. They come from Western Africa. They like the rainforest and subtropical environments, so they are a lot more humid. So ideally 70 to 80% humidity, which means spray them a lot or put a fogging system on them. These guys' ideal temperature is 78 to 80 degrees, so not super hot. Most time room temperature will work. If your room's a little cooler, 70s, lower 70s, I would suggest it's some type of heating. So depending on that, under tank heating, but these guys do love to burrow. So since they live on the ground of the forest floor, they do burrow down a lot. A lot of that is because they eat the decaying wood, the leaves, all the leaf litter that's there. So that's kind of where they hang out. Since they live on subtropic rainforest floors, when you're setting up your enclosure, so ideally for one full grown, I would go with a 50-gallon tank. So our 40 breeder reptile habitats are perfect for them. The big thing is they like a really thick substrate. So when you're deciding on that, the best substrate to use, which we have in store, is the tropical mix. So this tropical mix, which makes this nice, is that it has some wood pieces already in there, and they feed on decaying, rotting wood, so that works. And then it has the sphagnum moss in here also, which helps with your humidity. I would recommend though, once you mix this in there, to add additional sphagnum moss to the enclosure, just for the humidity purposes, because keeping 70 to 80% humidity is really hard. But adding additional to your tropical mix substrate makes a huge difference. The other thing that I would recommend, and as you can see in my enclosure, I have a variety of different leaves. So a lot of the leaves that I like to use, first of all, we have our nature's carpet that we have in store, but there's a lot of different types of leaves, but one of them that is in this mix is live oak leaves. And so they feed on that, they love it, it's great for them. I also use the sea grape leaves, which is a bigger leaf for them, but they will use it for hiding purposes because they'll hide under these, but they also feed on it. So it takes them a little bit longer to get through this versus the smaller ones. And then the third leaf that I like to put in mine, that you can see here, is the magnolia leaves. So the bigger magnolia leaves also helps with just ground coverage. They don't like to be out in the bright light. So they can burrow, hide under it, but they also feed on that too. So it just takes them a little bit longer to get through those bigger leaves. So those are all good. They love wood, so obviously you don't want to take wood from outside and just throw it in there, but there are certain types of wood you can put in there. And then I also have cork bark pieces in here that they just use for hiding, feeling comfortable. There's one right underneath this piece of wood here. So they do climb on it. A lot of times I'll come in here and they'll just be coiled up on the top of the cork bark piece too. So when you, obviously since we were talking about feeding them with leaves, when you can supplement with fruits and vegetables, I would say only fruits and vegetables maybe 3 to 4 times a week. You don't want that every single day in there. It's not bad for them, but ideally they eat a lot of decaying stuff. The other thing is some people want to supplement with calcium on their fruits and vegetables, but the best thing is to actually throw a cuttle bone in there. That gives them some other nutritional opportunities for them that just is in there at all times that they can chew on, and that gets them some calcium and all of those needs. These guys, whenever you're setting up your enclosure, it is also best to put a shallow water dish in there. You don't want something that's too deep for them. You don't want them to drown, but they do need a water source in their enclosure, even though you're gonna mist them every single day. But I'll tell you what, I change their water and refill it every day, and every single day it is literally just covered in mud. I think they just crawl through it. I don't even know, maybe they soak. I've never seen them soak, but they do need a water dish that's shallow. These guys are super handleable, very friendly. They are kind of shy, so if you don't handle them a lot of times they'll coil up into a tight ball until they get used to you. The other thing that they like to do is they do poop a lot, but that's just kind of their defense mechanism. But these guys get handled quite a bit, so we'll see what happens. So this behavior typically is just when they're really shy. They don't want to be handled. They'll just coil up super tight. You can see she is not having it. She is not interested. So as you can see, this one is scared. This one is shy. It is deciding to poop on me, as you can see on my fingers. It does have a smell. People say I can't smell it, but it's just to kind of scare predators off. And so you can see these guys are still not even quite full grown. This is my biggest one, this female right here. And she still has a little ways to go before she'll be 15 inches. One big thing with the millipedes, though, that I feel that is important is just like any other animal, it sheds its skin or its exoskeleton. So these guys will burrow down, and sometimes they don't even burrow. Sometimes they'll do it on the top and you might think that they're dead, but if you pick it up but it's not moving or active, I would not automatically assume that it is dead, because they shed their exoskeleton, and I don't want you to throw away or bury your live millipede. By looking at this one, it appears to be a female. So to tell the difference between a male and female giant African millipede is at the 7th segment from their head down, there's basically a gap where there's no legs, and that's how you would tell that it would be a male. All right, so I'm gonna attempt to show you guys a male millipede. They don't always cooperate, but so he has his antennas on his head, as you can see, and then his legs, and then if we can get him to open up at his head, we're gonna see a little gap where there's missing legs on that 7th segment down. And you'll see that it's looks like two little fins.
Yep.
Kind of down right there by my pointer finger.
Yep,
so that is how you would tell if it is a male. And then I can show you, well, let me grab one of these females that decided they were going on a climbing adventure. So the big thing also, they'll hold on to your fingers. You don't want to just yank out. You could damage their feet. So you just kind of want to get them to loosen up a little bit, because he's holding on pretty tight. But eventually they'll let go and loosen enough. There we go. All right, so this big girl here, we're going to show you how to see that it's a girl. All right, so on the girls, they don't have the missing legs. It's literally just straight legs all the way down. As you can see right there, there's no gaps. Also, another fun fact about the giant African millipedes is they actually have their own beneficial bug that lives on this, their own cleanup crew. It basically lives on their body. It keeps them clean. It cleans all of their legs for them. So if you ever get a millipede, because we do sell the giant African millipedes in store, so if you want the coolest pet around, they're $149.99. Come grab yours. But whenever you do take yours home, if you see any bugs like that on them, don't try to kill the bugs on them. You'll kill your millipede. They need those to be able to survive. So they are actually good bugs for them. They're their friends. But yeah, come get yours, come check them out, come hold one, and see if you leave with a new pet.